Hi everyone, welcome back to Naturally Wells. Thank you so much for coming back and checking out my channel. So a couple of things. I want to make a tapping video and I'll explain why. But also just a sort of short caveat really is that I don't really have great editing or production skills, so this video is going to be take it as you find me, which is probably me rambling on for a bit and not editing it in any way. So if I make a mistake, the mistake stays in. So obviously a lot has happened since I last updated this channel, the biggest being coronavirus has hit. People have been in lockdown for a really long time, and I noticed that on social media and just amongst my friends and family, there's obviously a really big kind of global outpouring and expression of quite negative feelings around isolation, expressions of anxiety, fear, uncertainty, and a lot of a lot of people are coping with these feelings on their own. And many years ago I qualified in EFT, which is also called Emotional Freedom Technique, and this is also known as tapping, and you'll find many tapping videos on YouTube if you want to look up tapping or EFT. And I qualified in something called positive EFT. So I want to keep this video fairly short, so just as a really quick rundown, Emotional Freedom Technique, or EFT, is a kind of self-calming, self-soothing technique which works on the principle of the energy system in the body, or as the ancient Chinese would call it, the meridian system. So kind of invisible energy channels that run along the body and connect to the organs, and these are accessed in practices such as acupuncture and acupressure. So there is a very long respected tradition in the understanding of these channels. I have a slightly different take, having practiced EFT for many years, which is I'm quite a pragmatic person. I like to sort of look at the science and behind the kind of the nebulous understanding of some of these grasp that some of these practices have on science, and I tend to think that things are not quite as they seem. So my feeling is that all that EFT does really is that it relaxes the nervous system. So if you like, we have well-worn pathways in our neural pathways in our brain, which get kind of used over and over and over to replay the same messages. And when we get stuck in a cycle of negativity and stress, it's so quick that our brain just goes down the same well-worn pathways and our nervous system becomes triggered very easily. And EFT is a combination of sayings, affirmations, mantras, if you like, and tapping particular points around the face and around the sternum. And it's like interrupting a record when the needle is dropping at the same points on the record. It's interrupting those negative thought patterns, and it's dampening the sympathetic nervous system response, which is the fight or flight response. And it's just allowing the nervous system to relax. It's a form of distraction for the brain, and then it activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the rest and repair branch of the nervous system, and that allows for your body to do all the other things that it's not doing when it's being chased by a tiger. So when you activate the rest and repair branch, the parasympathetic nervous system, then you activate digestion and you activate your white blood cells to do all the clean-up operations and defense operations that when you're in a state of stress, all those things work less efficiently. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm just going to do a little EFT session to demonstrate. So when you use EFT, it's pretty simple really. you are using some mantras or sayings. At the same time, you are activating the energy points around the face and the neck. So you start off with the tapping on the head. I'm just going to show you here. You just use these two fingers of your right hand, or obviously on your left hand if you're left-handed. And then you tap the point repeatedly on your right eyebrow, and then on the side of the right temple, underneath the right eye, underneath the nose, underneath the mouth, on the chin, and then here on the opposite side of the body you tap on the collarbone. And some people like to do that, or a variation is that you can gently tap on the thymus, and the thymus gland is situated under the neck here, and it's responsible for the maturation of your T lymphocytes, which are immune cells that are produced quite early on in your life, and then your lymph gland becomes less effective as you get older. But you can just gently stimulate that by tapping on it. And then the last thing I like to do is just to grab my left wrist at the end of a round of EFT, and just grab the left wrist and just say something like peace, or something reassuring to yourself, and to smile. And again, that smiling is just a way of saying to your brain and to your nervous system, it's time to calm down. And I think of something, an image that means peacefulness to me, or calm to me, or makes me feel happy in some way. So it might be thinking about a beautiful beach scene, or something being in the countryside, or just something lovely that you can finish that round with, and I say peace. Okay, so we're going to start a round of EFT, and again I'm just going to preface this by saying that a lot of EFT is based on the idea that you state the problem that you have. So say it's my fear of exams, or whatever it is, and you say, you know, even though I have this fear of exams, I love and accept myself. And then you carry on doing a tapping session and repeating that mantra. But for me, I find that overly fixates perhaps on the negative problem, and then that doesn't really kind of dissolve the problem or get rid of the problem, because you're working on that premise each time you're doing a round of tapping. And for me, that's a kind of reinforcement of the problem. So I'm reluctant to do that. I'm kind of reluctant to state the problem at all, because when you're feeling anxious, when you're in a state of fight or flight, really what's happening is you're resisting the problem a lot of the time. If you think of how much we try to fight anxiety, we try to fight our feelings, that fight puts us in a state of resistance all the time. And you're pushing when you try and push the problem away, that's when the problem gets bigger. So I've devised a little session around helping us accept certain feelings in order to better dissolve them. To once you face your fears and accept that you have a fear, that dissolves the resistance around it. Another way of putting it is that you make friends with your feelings. And that's not the same as saying that you make friends with the problem and that you just accept that you have a problem, don't do anything about it. It's not really about that. It's about accepting a feeling that we have, so that we stop pouring all our energy into fighting that feeling. So let's just tune in to whatever feeling or undercurrent of negative energy you might be having now, and you can just tune in to the feeling that you have. So you don't have to say a particular problem, you're just locating where you're feeling this feeling of negativity or negative energy, and we're going to use that as our focus. So I'm just looking down at some notes. So it's a type of mindfulness, I guess. You're tuning into the feeling that you have, not the problem that you have. You can't always change a problem, but you can change your response to it. So we're going to start with a very simple tuning into the feeling first of all. So have you got the feeling? When you've got the feeling, you can say, I recognize this feeling. I recognize this feeling. I accept this feeling. I recognize this feeling. I accept this feeling. It's okay to have this feeling. I recognize this feeling. I accept this feeling. Peace. And that's it. That's just one round. Now, how do you feel after that initial round? Has it maybe just taken the edge off your anxiety just a little bit? It's probably not going to be enough. You'll probably want to go to do several rounds until you really dissolve the blockage, the resistance to this feeling that you're having. So this round, this next round, I'm going to do one more round, is about acknowledging that this feeling is your nervous system trying to protect you. That in some ways it is your friend. If you can make friends with this feeling, then you're going to fight it a lot less. So what I want you to feel intuitively is that you're going towards this feeling that you have and making friends with it in some way. And that might feel really hard because it might be a feeling that you've had for a long time that makes you feel really awful. But just maybe be open to this idea. Okay, so we're going to do a second round and we're going to say, I go deeper into this feeling. Deeper into this feeling. It's okay to have this feeling. I go deeper into this feeling. I relax into this feeling. I relax into this feeling. Deeper, deeper, deeper into the feeling. Peace. And again, deeper. No resistance. No resistance to this feeling. Relaxing into the feeling. No resistance into the feeling. No resistance. Totally relax and accept this feeling. Go deeper, deeper into the feeling. Peace. And finally, sometimes I find it useful to imagine or to put the image into my head when I'm doing around this particular practice, is to imagine that the feeling is perhaps a fluffy white cloud and that I am falling backwards into this fluffy white cloud and that it's coming to meet me, and you're just allowing yourself to be totally open to this feeling. And as you open yourself to this feeling, you'll find that it just dissolves and leaves you feeling pretty peaceful and blissed out. You may have to practice and you may have to do several rounds, but you will get there. Okay, check back soon.